I want to talk about the 3 most likely Jazz players to be traded this trade season, and we're going to start off first with John Collins. The reports are out there that John Collins is on the trade block. The Jazz are actively trying to move him. The issue is that John Collins has a pretty big contract. It's going to be hard for the Jazz to get that contract moved. John Collins has had a nice season for the Jazz so far, but we've seen some defensive deficiencies and some other things that might make it not so easy to move his contract, especially for something so big. But John Collins shoots the ball. He can play small ball center. There's a lot of things that he can do, and there might be a team out there willing to give, at the very least, what the Jazz gave to the Atlanta Hawks for John Collins. And so that's why I think it's very possible. And plus the fact the Jazz just want to move him. It also clears space for Taylor Hendricks, which is a player the Jazz want to give more minutes to. The second player most likely to be traded for the Jazz is Kelly Olynyk. Olynyk has had a nice season for the Jazz and has had a nice time with the Jazz these last 2 seasons. The thing with Kelly Olynyk is that he is on an expiring contract. Danny Ainge is not going to want to let that contract expire, and the Jazz also, after the season, are likely going to be playing their young players more. Taylor Hendricks, just like we mentioned with John Collins, needs time on the floor, and with John Collins and Kelly Olynyk in front of him, it's hard to get him on the floor. There are teams that are going to want Kelly Olynyk as well. His ability to come in, play off the bench, he's really smart. It's not going to take him long to assimilate to his new team and contribute right away. That's why I think Kelly Olynyk gets moved pretty quickly, and there's probably a team out there willing to give a bad contract to the Jazz that also is attached to some sort of pick, which is something I'm sure Danny Ainge would love to do. Finally, the number 1 player most likely to be traded for the Jazz is Jordan Clarkson. Clarkson comes in at a decent number this year. His contract after this season, which is in the 20s, goes down to about $14 million for the next 2 seasons, making his contract much more manageable in the future, which is likely something the Jazz predicted would be a contract they'd move at some point. Clarkson is obviously still got a ton of talent. He had the first Jazz triple-double since Carlos Boozer in 2008. He does so many things off the bench for the Jazz as a 6th man, and he's shown that he can actually pass the ball in a really nice way. He's a player that can go to any team because all he has to do is come off the bench and get buckets. And there's a lot of teams out there that could use that offensive boost right away going into the playoffs. So I think there are teams out there willing to take on Jordan Clarkson, who will age nicely for them and has shown that he can spread the floor, do so many different things that a lot of teams are going to want. All right, guys, that's all I got. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. If you're a Jazz fan and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? I'll talk to you next time.